What up? It's your boy, Luke for Prez, back again with another video for you guys. Hope everyone's doing great out there, as always. Today I'm gonna be showing you how to create a DaBaby type beat with the help of Captain Plugin's Epic. DaBaby type beats are super fun to make. They're very distinct. Most of his music has a really prominent bounce. They're very simple overall. Each instrument in the beat has a very specific role, and they all work in conjunction together to create major bounce, which of course is one of my favorite things to do. The melody components are rather simple, as well as the drum components. It's gonna really show you that oftentimes less is more when it comes to these beats, and you don't need to stuff a ton of different things in the beat to make it better. In terms of what instruments are typically used, it's kind of all over the map, but some of his most popular songs incorporate ethnic flute sounds, pianos, and one very specific 808, which is basically a distorted version of the Zaytoven 808 that was popularized by one of his main producers, Jetson Made. So I'm gonna be using a similar 808 to that. Yeah, this is one of my favorite types of beats to make, so I'm excited to show you guys how it's done. Let's get it. All right, so I have Logic open. We are working in the tempo of 144 BPM and the scale of D minor. I started things off with Captain Melody Epic because usually a lot of DaBaby's music doesn't necessarily have like a crazy chord progression of any kind. It's just like a one note at a time melody that's just super catchy, super simple, and maybe just using only a few different notes. So that little catchy melody is really the most important component of the entire beat because that's what gets stuck in your head when you hear these kinds of songs, right? So I figured that was the best place to start. Loaded up Captain Melody Epic, and I came up with this very simple pattern that sounds like this. So as you can see, extremely simple. There's only like one note hitting at a time, not a lot going on. I used the Back to Square One sound preset just to actually build the melody, but I'm actually gonna change that to a flute sound momentarily. But just to back up and show you like how I arrived at this, I'm gonna open up a new instance of Captain Melody and just sort of like show you guys exactly how to use it to go from 0 to something melodic, you know what I'm saying? So I have this new instance pulled up. I'm gonna make it D minor. And to get things started, all you have to do is just click this plus sign here, and that's gonna generate a melody for you within the idea tool. So let's see how this sounds just right off the bat. So like even that is pretty dope. And when I pulled this up initially to make the actual melody for this beat, it presented me with a pattern that was very similar to this that I could then build off of. So you have several options. You can lock certain notes into place just by clicking this lock button, right? And then from there, if you wanted to change the rest of the pattern, you can hit the dice button, which will randomize the idea tool to present more ideas with you while leaving these in place. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now just to kind of show you. And let's see what this sounds like. And that's pretty cool. And what I typically do is like, I'll continue to use this lock feature as more and more notes kind of end up in the place that I want them. So for instance, in this case, I thought that these two sounded really good after this initial pattern that I liked, right? So I'm gonna click that lock button again, and I'm gonna hit the randomize button again. Now let's see what we got. So from here, what I would start to do is probably delete some of these notes. In my head, this one sounds like it's a little bit longer. So I'm gonna drag this guy out and now listen to it again. And now I'm hearing like maybe these notes repeating. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy and drag those over by selecting the option button after I select all the notes. And now let's see what that sounds like. And then like maybe like a dun dun to kind of like bring it all back around, you know? So I'm gonna go like this and then I'm gonna delete these guys just to get them out of the way, because I'm not sure how that timing's gonna be. Let me just, there we go. Oh, whoops. I didn't mean to move that one. Okay, so it would start right here, and then it would just like repeat from there, right? So that's actually, got it. Okay, so let's do this really quick, and this is just kind of a demonstration to show you like in real time how I use this. Right? Like that's pretty dope. I mean, again, super simple, but that's the point with these beats. And so I would just kind of continue building on it from there. But that's like a really good indication of how I use Captain Melody Epic like on a day-to-day basis. But anyways, back to the actual beat at hand with the original pattern that I'm gonna use for the full beat. So I clicked on Export MIDI and I dragged the pattern that I made into my DAW, and I found a really cool flute preset called Mask Off from one of the Omnisphere banks that I have, which I think is a reference to the Future song because there's a pretty prominent flute in that song. And this is what it sounds like now with the flute. And like, I'm pretty sure I've heard that exact flute in certain DaBaby songs. So it's like, it's perfect. I wanted one more melody element in the beat because like you can't just have that, right? So I added this piano pattern here that's literally just hitting on the root note, which is D, in 2 different octaves. And just having that repeat, and then I got like a few notes here at the end of the pattern. So together, this is what those 2 elements sound like. And that is all I'm gonna use for the melody component. As always, I'm gonna leave a lot of space for the artist's vocals. And again, these beats are just inherently very simple. So with that being said, I'm moving on to the drums. All right, for the drums, I came up with this pattern. We got a basic clap, a couple perks, and some sound effects. Very basic hi-hat pattern, as you can see here. And then that Zaytoven 808 that I mentioned, very basic pattern that just basically follows the notes in the melody, a kick that goes along with it, and then just like a simple crash. So all together, the drums sound like this. Boom. Easy, but bouncy. You know what I'm saying? So from there, the only thing left to do is arrange the beat, and I'm sending it to DaBaby. That's it. All right, the beat is arranged. Everything is in place. The arrangement, as with everything else about this beat, is remarkably simple. There's not a whole lot to say about it. It is one of those rather repetitive beats, but you know, that's what sells these days, so we gotta do it. So with all that being said, I'm gonna get out of here and play this beat for you guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video on how to make a DaBaby type beat. Like the video and subscribe to the Mix and Key YouTube channel. We got more of these coming in hot. As always, I'm Luke for Prez. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace!